private dinner party in London, 2019. Cate Blanchett is asked about her most challenging co-stars. The room goes quiet. She takes a sip of wine, pauses, and says something that shocks everyone present. "There are 5 actors I swore I'd never work with again, and I've kept that promise." Those words never made it to the press. Until now. For 3 decades, Cate Blanchett has been Hollywood's untouchable force. 2 Oscars, 8 nominations, critical acclaim for everything from Elizabeth to Blue Jasmine to Tar. She's transformed herself into queens, journalists, conductors, and everything in between. The chameleon who never breaks character and never breaks her carefully maintained image of professionalism and grace. But behind the flawless performances and award show speeches lies something darker. A woman who doesn't forget, who keeps mental records of every slight, every unprofessional moment, every actor who tested her patience. And at 56, after decades of biting her tongue, the truth is finally emerging. These aren't petty Hollywood squabbles about trailer size or billing order. These are professional conflicts between one of the greatest actresses of her generation and colleagues who couldn't match her intensity, her preparation, or her uncompromising standards. 5 names, 5 stories that reveal the woman behind the elegant exterior. Some of these actors are legends. Others are rising stars who learned too late that you don't cross Cate Blanchett and walk away unscathed. And what happened between them exposes a side of her the public rarely sees, the perfectionist who demands excellence and has no tolerance for anything less. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into Hollywood's most fascinating figures and the conflicts that shaped their legendary careers. Now let's count down the 5 actors Cate Blanchett couldn't stand working with. Number 5. Russell Crowe, the ego that clashed with excellence. Some feuds begin with creative differences. This one started with Russell Crowe showing up unprepared and expecting everyone else to compensate. It was 2010 on the set of Robin Hood, Ridley Scott's ambitious retelling of the legendary outlaw. Blanchett had signed on to play Marion Locksley, reimagined as a strong-willed woman who could hold her own against any man. She'd researched medieval England extensively, worked with dialect coaches for weeks, and arrived on set knowing every line backward and forward. Russell Crowe had a different approach. He showed up with vague ideas about his character, constantly rewrote dialogue on the spot, and expected the rest of the cast to adjust to his improvisation. For an actress like Blanchett, who treats preparation as sacred, this was unforgivable. The tension erupted during a crucial scene where Marion confronts Robin about his true identity. Blanchett had rehearsed the emotional arc carefully, building toward a specific revelation. But when cameras rolled, Crowe went completely off script, changing not just his lines, but the entire tone of the exchange. After the director called cut, Blanchett walked off set. She didn't return for 20 minutes. When she did, she requested that all future scenes with Crowe follow the script exactly as written. No improvisation, no last-minute changes, professional preparation or nothing. Crowe reportedly laughed it off initially, calling her precious about the process. That was his first mistake, because Blanchett didn't argue. She simply went to Ridley Scott and made it clear. Either they follow the script, or she'd make sure every interview about the film mentioned Crowe's lack of preparation. Scott, who'd worked with both actors multiple times, sided with Blanchett. From that point forward, the set operated on her terms. Crowe had to stick to the script. His improvisations were shut down, and the power dynamic shifted permanently. The film itself received mixed reviews, but Blanchett emerged with her reputation enhanced, while Crowe faced criticism for a performance many called unfocused and undisciplined. Years later, when asked about potential sequel plans, Blanchett made her position crystal clear in the most diplomatic way possible. "I think we told that story completely." Translation: "I will never work with Russell Crowe again." The message resonated throughout the industry. You don't show up unprepared around Cate Blanchett. You don't waste her time with ego-driven improvisation, and you certainly don't dismiss her concerns as being precious, because she will outlast you, outperform you, and make sure everyone knows exactly why. Number 4. Woody Allen, the director she defended until she couldn't. This entry is complicated because it's not about on-set conflict. It's about something far more painful: the realization that supporting someone's art meant ignoring the accusations against them. Blanchett worked with Woody Allen on Blue Jasmine in 2013. Her performance as a delusional former socialite descending into madness earned her a second Academy Award. Critics called it one of the greatest performances of the decade, and Blanchett praised Woody's direction, his trust in actors, his ability to capture complex emotional truth. Then the accusations resurfaced: Dylan Farrow's open letter, the #MeToo movement, the industry reckoning with men who'd been protected for decades, and Blanchett found herself in an impossible position. She'd defended Allen initially, arguing that she wasn't the judge and jury of his personal life, but as more actors publicly distanced themselves from him, as the evidence of his problematic behavior became harder to ignore, Blanchett's position became untenable. The breaking point came at a press conference where a journalist asked if she regretted working with Allen. Blanchett's response was measured but telling. She said she had enormous respect for Dylan Farrow's courage and hoped the family would find resolution. She acknowledged that the industry needed to examine its complicity in protecting powerful men. But what she didn't say spoke louder. She didn't defend Allen's character. She didn't commit to working with him again. And when pressed about future projects, she pivoted immediately to discussing other directors she admired. Behind closed doors, colleagues noted a shift in Blanchett's language. She began referring to Blue Jasmine as that performance, rather than that film. She stopped mentioning Allen in interviews unless directly asked, and made it clear to her agents that certain directors, regardless of their artistic reputation, were no longer on her list of collaborators. This wasn't hatred born of personal conflict. It was something more complex: the disgust that comes from realizing you'd been complicit, even unknowingly, in elevating someone whose alleged behavior betrayed everything you stood for. Allen gave her an Oscar-winning role, but he also put her in a position where defending her artistic choices meant dismissing serious accusations. And for Cate Blanchett, who'd built her career on integrity and thoughtful choices, that was unforgivable. Not because of what happened on set, but because of what she had to reconcile afterward: the uncomfortable truth that great art can come from deeply flawed people, and that sometimes the cost of that art is too high.
Number 3. Guy Pearce, the backstab disguised as a tweet. Some conflicts play out in screaming matches. Others happen in 280 characters that reveal years of hidden resentment. Cate Blanchett and Guy Pearce are both Australian acting royalty. They came up through the same theater scene, worked on several projects together, and publicly supported each other's careers for years. They were supposed to be allies, compatriots who'd conquered Hollywood together. Then came the 2016 Critics' Choice Awards. Blanchett was nominated for Carol. Ana de Armas was nominated for a different category, and Guy Pearce decided to pick sides in the most public way possible. Before the winners were announced, Pearce tweeted enthusiastically about hoping de Armas would win. Nothing wrong with that. Artists are allowed to have favorites. But then, Blanchett won, and Pearce's follow-up tweet was dripping with passive aggression. Fascinating choice. 2 words, that's all it took. 2 words that suggested Blanchett's win was questionable, undeserved, merely fascinating rather than brilliant or well-earned. 2 words that felt like a knife in the back from someone she'd considered a friend. The Australian film community noticed immediately. This wasn't an American actor throwing shade. This was one Aussie legend publicly undermining another. And in a culture that values loyalty and mateship, that breach felt especially personal. Blanchett never responded publicly. She didn't need to. Her silence said everything. She unfollowed Pearce on social media within days. When asked about Australian actors she admired, His name disappeared from her responses, and when projects came up that might involve both of them, her team made it clear, not interested. Industry insiders whispered about what might have caused the rift. Some suggested jealousy over Blanchett's success. Others pointed to professional disagreements years earlier that had never been resolved. A few claimed Pierce felt Blanchett had abandoned Australian cinema for Hollywood glamour. But the most likely explanation is simpler. Pierce expected Blanchett to struggle in Hollywood the way he had. When she didn't, when she became one of the most celebrated actresses of her generation, while he remained a talented character actor who never quite achieved leading man status, the resentment grew. And that tweet was the moment it finally escaped. For Blanchett, the betrayal wasn't about the award. It was about trust. She'd spent years championing Australian talent, using her platform to lift others up. And Pierce had used that same platform to diminish her accomplishment in front of the entire industry. They haven't worked together since the allegations. They likely never will again. And Blanchett's message is clear. Loyalty matters. And once you break it, there's no coming back. Number 2. Geoffrey Rush, the friend whose scandal tainted everything. The most painful conflicts aren't with enemies. They're with people you trusted completely who turn out to be something you never saw coming. Cate Blanchett and Geoffrey Rush were more than co-stars. They were pillars of Australian theater, collaborators who'd worked together for decades, friends who'd supported each other through career highs and personal lows. When Rush received allegations of inappropriate behavior from a Sydney Theatre Company actress, Blanchett faced an impossible situation. As artistic director of the Sydney Theatre Company during the period when the alleged incidents occurred, Blanchett had a responsibility to address the accusations. But Rush was her friend, her mentor in many ways, someone she'd vouched for countless times. The allegations detailed inappropriate behavior during a 2015 production of King Lear. The actress claimed Rush had made sexual remarks and engaged in unwanted touching. Rush denied the allegations vehemently and sued the newspaper that published them, eventually winning a defamation case. But for Blanchett, the damage was done. Not because she believed Rush was guilty, the courts ultimately sided with him, but because the situation forced her to choose between defending a friend and protecting victims who came forward. And she'd been in a position of power when the alleged incidents occurred. That guilt haunted her. In interviews, Blanchett spoke carefully about the situation. She expressed support for anyone who experienced inappropriate behavior. She acknowledged that institutions, including those she'd led, needed to do better. But she never publicly defended Rush's character or dismissed the allegations. Behind the scenes, their friendship crumbled. Rush felt abandoned by someone he'd considered a close ally. Blanchett felt betrayed that she'd been in a position where her leadership might have failed to protect someone. Both felt like victims of circumstances neither fully controlled. They haven't worked together since the allegations surfaced. They no longer appear at the same events. And when Blanchett discusses her time at the Sydney Theatre Company, Rush's name is noticeably absent from her stories. This isn't hatred in the traditional sense. It's something sadder. The death of a friendship that couldn't survive the weight of accusations, legal battles, and the impossible choices that come with power and loyalty.
Number 1. Brad Pitt, the co-star who made her question everything. Every conflict on this list has been professional, personal, or political, but the story of Cate Blanchett and Brad Pitt is different because it's not about what he did, it's about what he represented. The male actor who gets celebrated for doing half the work. They worked together on The Curious Case of Benjamin Button in 2008 and Babel in 2006. On paper, they were equals, two acclaimed actors at the height of their powers, but the experience exposed everything Blanchett had come to resent about Hollywood's double standards. For Benjamin Button, Blanchett trained extensively to play a ballet dancer. She worked with choreographers for months, studied Balanchine technique, and performed much of the dancing herself despite the physical demands on her already strenuous schedule.
She showed up to set at 5 in the morning for aging makeup that took hours to apply. Pitt showed up, looked handsome, and got praised for his dedication to sitting through makeup sessions. The disparity in how they were treated gnawed at Blanchett. Pitt could show up unprepared and charm his way through scenes. She had to be perfect or she'd be labeled difficult. He could joke around between takes and be called down to earth. If she demanded focus, she was intense. But the real breaking point came during awards season. Blanchett's performance was widely considered the emotional core of Benjamin Button. Critics praised her portrayal of aging, loss, and enduring love, yet the campaign focused almost entirely on Pitt, his transformation, his range, his risk-taking. At one industry event, a journalist asked Pitt about working with Blanchett. His response was gracious but revealing. He called her a pro and praised her commitment. Both compliments that sound nice but ultimately position her as a skilled technician rather than an artist. Blanchett reportedly smiled politely, but colleagues noted that she declined to do joint interviews for the rest of the campaign. And when asked about her experience on the film, she pivoted quickly to praising David Fincher's direction, the technical team's work, anyone except her co-star. The situation crystallized everything Blanchett had been fighting against for decades. A male actor with movie star charisma gets to coast on charm. A female actor with equal talent has to work 3 times as hard for half the recognition. And even then, she's described as professional, while he's celebrated as brilliant. This isn't about Brad Pitt being cruel or intentionally dismissive. It's about a system that allowed him to succeed with minimal effort while demanding everything from her. And Blanchett couldn't forgive him for benefiting from that system without acknowledging it, without using his privilege to challenge it. They haven't worked together since. When asked about potential future collaborations, Blanchett gives the same diplomatic answer. I think we've told the stories we needed to tell together. Translation: I refuse to watch another man get credit for work I actually did. At 56, Cate Blanchett has nothing left to prove. 2 Oscars, universal respect, a legacy that will outlast nearly everyone in this video. But the Brad Pitt experience taught her something valuable. Sometimes the problem isn't a difficult co-star. Sometimes it's an industry that refuses to see women's work as equal to men's, no matter how brilliant that work might be. And that's not just frustrating, it's unforgivable. So there you have it. 5 conflicts that shaped Cate Blanchett's perspective on Hollywood and revealed the fierce standards she holds herself and others to. From the unprepared co-star who learned not to waste her time to the director whose scandal forced an impossible choice. From the backstabbing tweet that ended a friendship to the mentor whose allegations destroyed decades of trust. And finally, to the system that celebrates mediocre men while demanding perfection from exceptional women. Which story surprised you most? Was it Russell Crowe's lack of preparation, the painful Woody Allen reckoning, Guy Pearce's passive-aggressive tweet, the heartbreaking Jeffrey Rush situation, or the Brad Pitt experience that exposed Hollywood's deepest inequalities? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more untold stories about Hollywood's greatest actors, the conflicts that never made headlines, and the truths that shape legendary careers, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Because behind every flawless performance is a story far more complicated than what we see on screen. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.